Okay, at 6:30 in the evening, I'd like to go ahead and call this council meeting to order. Mr. Hall, could you open us in prayer, please?
Let's pray. Our living Heavenly Father, we are blessed, and we know that we're blessed, but not because of just the things you give to us, but because of who you are. We thank you for the opportunity to serve in our community, and we pray that you would bless each of these councilmen, mayor, staff. We just praise you, Lord, for all that you do and are doing in our lives and in our city. We pray that you continue to build us up in unity together. We pray in Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You call the roll, please.
Councilmember Hall.
Here.
Councilmember Chapman.
Here.
Councilmember McMahon. Here. Councilmember Hefner. Here. Councilmember Brooke.
Here.
And Councilmember Rubel.
Here.
All are here. We have a quorum. Council, first time on the agenda tonight is review and approval of the October 16th City Council meetings as presented. I would entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
We have a motion. We have a second.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes carried. Motion carries. Thank you. Next on the agenda is the department reports. Financials are not available for this month since we're a little early, but we'll have them for next month. With that in mind, I'd entertain a motion to approve the department reports as presented.
Motion.
Second. Motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Thank you. Planning Commission report.
Good evening, everyone. I will be brief. We had a very short meeting at our last commission meeting. Only a couple of things were actually on the agenda that we were able to deal with. The first one was a variance request for 8 Heather Drive. It was brought up by Albert Shibui. He was seeking a variance to be able to have an RV permanently in the backside of his home. Worked with both Bruce and with Michael and them, and came to the conclusion that they didn't meet the setbacks. They didn't meet any of the codes as far as water, sewer, and electric. And it was going to be a bad thing to start approving things, because you might have one in your backyard if we start doing these kinds of things. The motion failed 0-4, and I did advise Mr. Shibui that he could appear to the city council and and bring it in front of you, but I don't see him here right now, so.
He did not request to be put on the agenda.
Yep, okay. And then the other piece of business that we had was the Stagecoach Meadows Phase 2, and that was done by Richardson Engineering. Both contractors and developers have finished all of their primary work, and everything is done. The final plat is ready for you. It passed the commission 4-0 at our last particular meeting. And the work that they did was really good. There were no questions or any discussion hardly about it. The final thing I have to bring up is our commission meeting's been changed, kind of like the city council meetings get changed during the holidays. Our planning commission meeting was changed to December 21st, and that will be at 7 p.m. And that's the Monday before the Christmas holiday, or the Thursday, I think it is, Thursday or Friday, I don't know for sure, but the 21st before Christmas, okay?
I believe it's
And
Thursday.
And that's all I really have, unless y'all have any questions, and I'm sure Tristan can answer anything related to the plat if you have any of those.
I have a question about the RV. So did we give him a timeline to stop using? I guess he's using it now still,
No,
I don't know.
Immediately,
immediately?
right. He had put underpinning and everything. He'd made it a permanent.
Oh, yeah, he had lattice, he had everything, it was looking really nice. Unfortunately, it's not allowed.
We've encountered, I think, 2 others so far, RVs that we're looking at. And we try to work with individuals, tell them about the rules and talk to them first. And then there's a document we issue that puts them on notice. And then we carry forward from there. But the point is, they can come to the planning commission, ask for variance. And this is the only one that's came so far.
Well, and he was going to use it as a permanent living facility
Right.
too, yeah.
I have a question.
Yes.
So how many, in this Stagecoach Meadows, how many homes, is it homes?
Yes.
Yes, they're all
How many?
homes, yeah.
How many?
How many are there?
In this phase?
Yes.
Come on up to the microphone
That's a good question.
and introduce yourself.
have that on my notes.
Got the plat right here. Tristan Phillips, Richardson Engineering, representing LaRousse Holdings for this project. There is 64 lots in this phase. This is phase 2. The total lot number of the whole project is 3-something. I don't remember that number off the top of my head. But they have maybe one to 2 phases left of that one. And this is the Meadows, so it's kind of the smaller lot sizes, and they're currently working on finishing the estates, which are kind of like the larger lots around that existing lake that was out there.
This is off East Main.
Yes. Yep. So they're currently working on trying to finish that construction up. We'll bring that final plat through here in another month or 2, just to, depending on the weather and on how they can finish their road construction and stuff like that. So, yes, ma'am.
Does it,
Pretty mic on.
the UDO, does it, what's the word I'm looking for? Is it consistent with what we're planning for the UDO?
It is.
We're currently just using our current standard stuff right now. Nothing related to the UDO because it doesn't exist until you all make it exist. Otherwise, we run by the old ordinances that we currently have.
And this is one of those that are outside our city limits, but inside our territory.
Yeah, that's right. It is outside of our area. They'll be brought in later on, I'm sure.
That is true.
As soon as the project becomes contiguous with the city, it's typically annexed.
Right. Which may be several years. But there's a lot of land in between.
But we do make sure that it follows all city ordinances and guidelines and stuff like that, to make sure whenever it does come in that it meets current city code.
Which is why we had the 1 mile outside our city limits by state law to allow for that, because eventually that will come into the city limits.
Sidewalks being put in?
Pardon me?
Sidewalks being put in?
Yes. Yes. All our subdivision rules and regulations being followed, yes. I'd entertain a motion to accept the final plat as presented by Planning Commission Chief.
I make the motion.
We have a motion, we have a second.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Hearing none. That's approved. I'd also entertain a motion to accept the planning commission report as he presented on the rest of the items. We have a motion, we have a second? And we have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
And first up on the agenda for old business is ordinance 2023-21. Would you read the title, please?
An ordinance amending ordinance O-2021-03, which amended W-1-93, creating a city planning commission, setting terms of members, election of officers, rules, employments of assistants, and expenditures, powers and duties, and for other purposes.
This ordinance is up for its second reading, if you recall, and this kind of falls right in line with what we just talked about outside the city limits. This allows for members who live within the planning jurisdiction to also be members of this planning commission. According to the law, the legislative body of the municipality may appoint 1/3 of the membership of the commissioners from electors living outside the corporate limits of the municipality, but within recorded planning jurisdiction of the municipality. Open the floor for discussion. Hearing none, I entertain a motion to approve ordinance 2023-21 on its second reading.
Motion.
We have a motion. We have a second.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Hall,
Yes.
Councilmember Chapman,
Yes.
Councilmember McMahon,
Yes.
Councilmember Hefner,
Yes.
Councilmember Brooke,
Yes.
and Councilmember Rubel.
Yes.
Motion carries. Ordinance 2023-21 is approved on its second reading, and we'll carry it forward next month for third reading. You can? You want to make a motion to suspend the third reading and then we have a motion. Do we have a second to suspend the third reading? Second. We have a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay. I'd entertain a motion to approve ordinance 2023-21.
Motion.
We have a second. We have a motion to second. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Chapman,
Yes.
Councilmember McMahon,
Yes.
Councilmember Hefner,
Yes.
Councilmember Brooke,
Yes.
Councilmember Rubel,
Yes.
and Councilmember Hall.
Yes.
Motion carries. Ordinance 2023-21 is approved and will go into effect in 30 days. No need for the emergency clause. Next on the agenda is new business, resolution 2023-26. Would you read the title, please?
A resolution authorizing an agreement between the City of Ward and the City of Rockport, Arkansas for repayment of funds expended by the City of Ward for ALITA training for Christopher Curtis.
State law allows for a city whose employee they've sent and paid the money for law enforcement training, if they leave before next month, there's a tier on how much we can retain or recoup from the city who's hired them. And this is what happened here. Individuals no longer working for that city, but they're still responsible for it. They have offered, and they are a city of second class, they have offered in a letter for to pay us $307 per month and for 24 months or until it's paid, of course. And in working with our city attorney and their officials, I'm fine with this. They can't afford $7,000 some odd dollars right off top. The city of second class of, I think they have 676 people in the city. They just cannot.
I make a motion, we accept.
A motion to approve the resolution.
Second.
We have a second. Roll call, please.
Councilmember McMahon,
Yes.
Councilmember Hefner,
Yes.
Councilmember Brooke,
Yes.
Councilmember Rubel,
Yes.
Councilmember Hall,
Yes.
Councilmember Chapman.
Yes.
Resolution 2023-26 is approved. Thank you, council. Next on the agenda is resolution 2023-27. Read the title, please.
A resolution authorizing the purchase of an all-terrain vehicle side-by-side for the Ward Police Department, repealing and replacing City of Ward Resolution 2023-24.
Council, last month you approved, or in October you approved, that was last month, the purchase of the side-by-side, but by the time we got that approved and called them, they'd already sold it. And so we looked around, tried to find a chief as a suitable substitute, even a good used one at that price, and can't find one. Did find this one at Doug Reynolds Suzuki for $800 more. We have, I'll tell you, put a $500 deposit down on this, so it's not going to go anywhere, assuming this is approved tonight.
Motion approved.
We have a motion, we have a second? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Hefner,
Yes.
Councilmember Brooke,
Yes.
Councilmember Rubel,
Yes.
Councilmember Hall,
Yes.
Councilmember Chapman,
Yes.
and Councilmember McMinn.
Yes.
Resolution 2023 is approved. Thank you, council. At some point in time, at another later date, we need to talk about possibly raising the authority of the mayor to spend. $10,000 is not much anymore. That's for discussion for another day. Next on the agenda is Resolution 2023-28. Would you read the title, please?
A resolution authorizing the purchase of a breathing air compressor system for the Ward Fire Department.
Chief, you want to come up for a second? As you're aware of, fire departments, fire personnel have to wear self-contained breathing apparatus when they go into fires, and we had to be able to fill those up. We've had a compressor for years, Cascade system, and it just, was on its last day. We had a loaner, if I understand correctly.
Yes, sir. The company that we're actually looking at actually loaned us the piece of equipment and are actually using it as a trade-in. So that's something to think about too.
We probably had that compressor that went, before it went bad, probably 15 years,
If not more.
if not more.
Yeah, at least 15
So-
years.
This capital investment is something to last 15, 20 years.
Motion accept.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call. Sorry, go ahead.
The price on this is for the trade-in.
With the trade-in, yes, sir.
What about without the trade-in? Can we go with that one?
But there's no reason to keep the other one.
Not bringing it back up?
No.
Okay.
Not if you've been overseeing it, that humongous thing, we don't need to back up. Nah. And also, I'll make note, this is being paid out of Act 833 money,
Yes, sir.
which is provided by the state.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion to second and side conversation. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Brooke,
Yes.
Councilmember Rubel, Councilmember Hall,
Yes.
Councilmember Chapman,
Yes.
Councilmember McMinn,
Yes.
and Councilmember Hefner.
Yes.
Motion carries. Resolution 2023-28 is approved.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is Resolution 2023-29. Read the title, please.
A resolution authorizing and approving a termination of settlement agreement by and between Community Water System, a public water authority for the state of Arkansas, Lone Oak White Public Water Authority of the state of Arkansas, the city of Ward, Arkansas, and other interested parties.
Chris, can you come forward, please? I see you brought your paralegal with you.
I did.
Bring Chris forward in case anybody has any questions on this. This is a long-term settlement from years ago with Central Arkansas Water about intake sites and
So I'm not privy to what all it was way before I even passed the bar, but I did call Judge Clint McGue this week to ask him, hey, you know, before I spend 2 hours reading this book, you drafted this, didn't you? And he said, yes, I did. I said, okay. Is it, you know, everything's on par here? He said, yes. And basically, I think it's been over 10 years.
Yes.
This settlement's been in process. It really doesn't change anything for Ward. It just gets us out of it. We're getting away from community water. Lone Oak White is still Lone Oak White. Nothing changes with them.
has to do a lot with availability and whether or not they can have a portion of the intake side, and there's a lot of nuances to it. But bottom line is that they're into the settlement. We need to sign this so we can get out of this settlement. Any discussion?
All right, I'm still just as confused as before y'all started.
Yeah, it's
Well,
confusing.
That makes two of us. Yeah. Like I said, the settlement process started long ago. You were probably on council.
I was on council, yes.
At the time. And I'm not even sure what the original dispute was, to be honest with you.
Access to the intake site, Lonoc White had to fight for years through the Army Corps and the citizens, or whatever they're called, for the lake, and getting that approved. Central Arkansas Water wanted a piece of that, a continuing piece of that, and through some legal action, there was back and forth, and this is what pertained to it. They retained a portion of the intake site, but would have to pay a sum of money by the end of this year in order to remain that, and they're not going to do that. They are seeking possibly to get their own intake site for Central Arkansas Water in conjunction with Community Water or Conway Corp, because Conway is going to need some water at some point in time. There are, if we really want to get into it, we need Judge McHugh here to explain it, but
My understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, this doesn't get us anything. It just cuts out our exposure.
correct.
We're out of the way at this point.
Right. It's a process, it's just a matter of the process. The agreement terms have ended, and this is part of the process to end it formally. I know it's still gray.
How does
But the-
that benefit the city?
The city, we were no longer in that agreement, and all the cities, all the entities of Lonoc White, the 7 different water that take money from it, all have to sign this to end this settlement agreement that was agreed upon 10 years ago. Yeah, there's nothing, we're not gaining anything out of it. It's something that has to be done.
Are we losing anything out of it?
We're not losing anything out of it either. And again, Judge McHugh, he's the author of it, the attorney for Lonoc White. There has been back and forth this year and previous about a lot of things about this, but this is the end product, and it's,
Well, will this allow Community Water to go into an agreement with us about the intake again in next year?
no, I don't believe so.
I think Community Water is going to be,
They're out of it.
have no more authority whatsoever in this settlement agreement.
Right. And there were other documents that went with the settled agreements, different
There's some
deed
deeds,
transfers
yeah,
and-
some deed transfers and whatnot.
things like that. But when there's also, there's conversation about Lonoc White not opposing them attempting to get a intake site of their own, which draws down the lake, and there's a lot of,
If I remember right, Conway tried to get some of these shares of water back when, and
Yes.
we gobbled them up,
right.
and Conway didn't get any. Cabot and Ward got the most of them.
And then Cabot backed out of Lonoc White years ago. The process of allocating water is amazing, how this is done. I've been to a couple of meetings, and I don't understand it either. But how they allocate Bull Shoals Lake, and who can get it, how the water levels are, and how our intakes, how far down they go, the 3 different intakes Lonoc White has. It's engineering that is way above me.
The old saying is whiskey's for drinking, water's for fighting.
That's true. That's true.
Bruce, can you come up?
Floor is yours.
Yes, sir. Can you make heads and tails about this, that we can understand it?
Yeah, well, I'd ask the mayor about it, and the way I look at it, it's just an end to that. And I think they're, because basically like what they said is I guess sometime back when they tried to get intake side or shares of the water, whatever it may be, and this is ending that. And then like Mayor said, I think Conway with, is it Conway Corp?
And Community Water.
They're trying to get their own site. So basically, as far as what we had there, I guess we kind of had everything. Lonoc White had their area locked down, and this just an end process to that, to where it just that whole settlement is done with. But with that, I think they're still trying to get, like I said, an intake site of their own versus a shared one, I think, at some point in time.
But that's
in the
all got to
past.
be approved
Yeah.
by Corps of Engineers, and that's a long drawn-out process. I don't think you probably have the agreement in front of you. One of the intake site, section 4 anyway, community water shall quit claim its undivided 1/2 interest of the intake site and all improvements on the intake site to Lonoc White Public Water Authority, and particularly described and set out in Exhibit 2, and said quitclaim deed will be prepared. Okay. The quitclaim deed transfer of its interest by community water shall be full and complete to terminate its obligation or its ability to exercise the right to share and utilize the intake site. In other words, they'll be out of the Lonoc White Public Water intake site and not have any more claim to that site or portion of that site, which they did under the agreement.
So our agreement was under community waters umbrella?
No. It was a joint settlement agreement with Community Water and Lonoc White.
So basically, it was like a big fuss, a big lawsuit, people countersued, blah, 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 and now it's like, okay, we're out of
done.
it, so now we're saying, okay, we're done too, then we'll end it.
Right, here's the settlement papers we have to sign to get out of this, to end this formally, yes.
This happened 10 years ago.
Exactly right.
This didn't happen yesterday. This agreement was reached 10 years ago.
Plus,
So it's just been laying on the table, waiting for it to just to be officially closed out, so nobody else could pick it
To
back up
this-
and fuss again.
right.
Okay.
They had till the end of this year to pay a good sum of money or get out of this.
I make a motion, we get out of it.
Make a motion. Okay, so a motion, I'm going to assume a motion to approve the resolution. Thank you. Okay, so a motion and a second to approve resolution 2023-29. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Rubel,
Still being confused, yes.
Councilmember Hall,
Yes.
Councilmember Chapman,
Yes.
Councilmember McMahon,
Yes.
Councilmember Hefner,
Yes, I had a headache coming in and it's worse now.
and Councilmember Brooke.
No.
Okay. Resolution 2023-29 passes 5-1. Thank you, Council. Next up on the agenda is the mayor's report. The SARTS 4 sidewalk project, the 30% of the construction design has been submitted to RDOT. The meter replacement project, we need to talk to Bruce about that, but the base stations have been installed and will be tested soon. We are getting endpoints in. We anticipate some major movement soon on this project, and hopefully it will be completed by next year, which we got because we had to obligate, we had to spend the money by 2025, I believe, is the end date. The request to ANRC for $700,000 plus to fully fund the project to remove the remaining homes off vacuum. We're still waiting for that decision. The SARTS 5 proposed decision, waiting on RDOT's decision on that also. Street 8 still will come in January, we hope. The Highway 319 project, as you know, if you've been on Peyton Street anytime, is started, and it's a mess, but when it's all said and done, it'll be good. And we did get a request for proposal draft from the Arkansas Energy Office, and we're reviewing that, looking at that, and we're trying to figure out, do we need to issue that on as a newspaper request or not? And that's something we'll have to work out, but we're still working on that. The UDO staff updates have been finalized, and I sent them back to MetroPlan for their look at it. We do have a meeting with Planning Commission on December 5th to do an initial review of the UDO and the new zoning maps, and then talk about public hearings when we get them scheduled. License plate reader camera, the only one we have approved, still waiting for them to install it. I asked them today and did not get a reply back from them. The Consolidated 911 Center, we are still waiting on Carlisle, England, and Lonoc and Austin to sign the interlocal agreement. We've been in talks with them. Carlisle City Council meets tomorrow night to discuss it, but the bottom line is they're gonna have to sign. What the difference is I've been keeping you all informed from day one that this was coming, what we're doing, and how we're doing it. They did not. Some of the other cities did not. And so now their council has got all kinds of questions, rightfully so. But we're up against a deadline. There is a upcoming Metro call plan for projects. MetroPlan will release 1.5 to 1.6 million in TAP funding for allocation Central Arkansas projects during the fiscal year '24. Additionally, MetroPlan has $1.18 million in CART's infrastructure exchange funding to allocate for smaller projects. These funds must be used by the TAP, Transportation Alternative Projects, such as sidewalks, bicycle pedestrian, and things like that. Their call will be issued after the November board meeting. I'd like to get us together and talk about what we want to apply for in this TAP project. I did ask MetroPlan, does this have to connect with a current Safe Routes to School project, such as over on this side, that side of the railroad track? It does not. It can be a standalone project. It'll weigh more heavily if it's connected to a sidewalk. We do have a sidewalk from SARTS 1 down in front of what was the school, which is now City Hall. If we can come up with a plan to connect to that sidewalk, that'll give us a little more credibility on this. Or we can do a standalone somewhere. What I'd like to do is get us together in a workshop and discuss what we want to do, what we want to project for this particular sidewalk project, if that's what we want to do. So, how's November 21st sound to anybody?
When's Thanksgiving? What day?
You said November 21st?
Sure. They're going to issue the call soon, and it's not, that is next Tuesday.
I'll be here.
How about the rest of y'all? Can you meet Tuesday? All right, let's meet. Well, then this is a workshop. It's, I mean, no decisions are made, you know, by voting. Yeah, I mean, we'll get some guidance. What you're doing is the workshop will provide guidance to the city to work toward. So 21st at 6:30, would that work?
Yes.
Okay. So we'll have a TAP workshop. Okay. Very good, thank you, council. And that's all I have for my mayor's report this month. Do we have any public comment? No. Okay, we have any other items we need to bring forward as council for tonight?
I had the Peyton and 367 intersection. We've talked about it in a prior council meeting, the big old cutout that they didn't add the roads together with for some reason. Wanted to know if there was some way while they're there working, we can get a patch on that or something, if you could talk to them.
Where's that again?
It's right there at the 367 as you're coming on to 367, that big old hole that's sticking out there in the middle.
On the right as you come over railroad tracks?
Yeah.
Not under this project, because that scope of work is not over the railroad tracks.
Yeah.
But what I'll do is, probably something that we're gonna have to do.
It's not good. Yeah, it is. It's not good. I'm not sure why they did that. It just makes no sense.
Because that was probably what it was said on the plans.
Yeah. Oh, and
I'll take a look at that. It may be something that, I did talk to this company who's doing the overlay about possibly doing a side job, that's not the right word, but a subcontract to do Grant Street and Bryant Street and even Circle B Drive while they're down that end, and they cannot do that under the federal rules.
Yeah.
So I can't ask him to do this at all.
I
So
understand.
we can look at this and see what we can do, if anything.
Yeah, okay.
It may be still under warranty. I know
It
that,
don't look like they finished it. I mean, even if the city could put something in there, we
that's
just.
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm not sure we can, but I know the street, the traffic lights are still under RDOT warranty. They haven't come to us yet, which is good.
Yeah.
Because then we don't have to be responsible for them yet.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. The other thing was I talked to the code enforcement. I don't know if he talked to you about and I brought up in another council meeting quite a few months back, about the house at the end of
Green Apple?
Green Apple.
Right.
Yeah, the windows busted out and.
I've just talked to him last week about that. There's some other houses, some trailers out in the Palm area that we are forcing them to board them up, and I told him to get on that one also, so. We get those boarded up, and even this old laundromat, we're looking at that, I tell you that Mr. Michael is a very aggressive code enforcement
That's
officer.
good. So where do we move toward, I mean, there's nobody living there, they're not capable of living there. Where do we move toward condemnation or anything like that?
It's a process, and we can get to that process. They keep it, I mean, they keep that. one
They keep it
particular-
mowed,
They keep
yeah.
it mowed very nicely over there, which others do not. But the fact that there's, windows broken out and all that, it should be a condemned building, and we can work toward that process.
I have a few things too I want to ask.
Okay?
First of all, I want to ask if we can have discussion about the rezoning ordinance that you guys passed when I wasn't here, which, by the way, thank you guys for understanding me being gone. I just kind of want to know, because like when I watched the video, I know that it passed in Planning Commission, and this is the section that they started out, which I know you guys had a issue with, and I came to that meeting too, where it was, they talked about Dollar General, and then they've changed everything. I thought they had kind of changed what everybody was asking, and I knew it passed very well through Planning Commission, but I'm just wondering, and I'm asking that just because we have no industry here, and it is, the chamber itself, there's really no members of the ward chamber because there's very few businesses here, and we just keep taking in more and more houses, and we don't have any businesses here. And when I spoke to them last time, I told them that I felt like, a specific business probably is not, beneficial. I understood that, but they talked to me about like pharmacists, a pharmacy going in, and some other things, and those are things I'm like, gosh, we need some things like that are useful, and not another tobacco store, and nothing against tobacco stores. I had to stop there for my husband last week. But you know what I'm saying? Just a lot of the same old. We're sending all of our money to Cabot and Beebe, and there's nothing here that supports us. And if we're gonna put in more, I'm just wanting to know, like, what's the plan? And what was the problem, I guess? What did I miss? Because I didn't hear, there wasn't any discussion about it.
No, there really wasn't a whole lot of discussion about it whatsoever. I guess if council wants to, if they want to bring this back up for discussion and vote, I would need a motion to allow for that, because the subdivision rules say that unless council approves, any rezone that's been turned down is not brought back before council for a year unless the council approves it. I think if we want to do a full discussion on, we need to start with that process.
So can I make that motion?
You can make that motion.
Okay, I'd like to make that motion, that we can bring it up for discussion.
So Ms. McMahon is making a motion to bring the rezone ordinance, which I don't remember what the number was. I have to look it up.
I just printed it back out. It's 0-2023. That's not it? Okay.
Anyway, the rezone ordinance that was presented last month.
Second that motion.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. You can bring it up anytime. We have a motion and a second to revisit ordinance 2023. What, do you know what it is? The rezone ordinance. We'll look it up. So a motion and a second. Roll call, please, for the motion.
Councilmember Hall,
Yes.
Councilmember Chapman,
Yes.
Councilmember McMahon,
Yes.
Councilmember Hefner,
No.
Councilmember Brooke,
No.
Councilmember Rubel.
No.
We're tied 3-3. I vote yes. Oh, yes, in the affirmative, motion carries. I will open the floor up for discussion for ordinance 2023 what it is, and I find out what it is.
I voted no because the residents do not want it. I don't live there, but the residents do live there, and they did not want it. That's why I voted no.
No, I totally get that. I think the thing about it is, the reason I was asking is that I knew they came back and then it passed Planning Commission. And so I watched all that stuff, and I've had other people come to me that live besides, and I get it. I mean, nobody wants, business right on top of them. I totally get that. But we also have to think about the other people in the area that,
Okay, then let's talk about other people. We've already got businesses along 367 that the people that own them won't clean them up and do anything with them. So I feel that the city, instead of making them do what they're supposed to do, we decide we're gonna move commercial out on somewhere else because it's easier.
Well, no, the city didn't decide that. That's what the developer was deciding. He was wanting to put in a commercial property out there. No, what developer lives in the city around here, in truth? Really? I mean, what developer that does all the subdivisions lives in the city?
The main reason why I voted no on it is because of the traffic flow. That has not been addressed yet. That was the main concern for that area, is the traffic. Because you have business, you have homes going on Stagecoach already. That's gonna be 300-something homes. You're gonna have a lot more traffic there. You're gonna have 500-something homes going in on Moon Road in the future also. So you got over 1,500 cars that's gonna be going up and down that highway without any other traffic control. So you're gonna have more cars going that way. And I know the city can't do anything about it because it's a state highway. So I understand that. But until that's addressed, there's really nothing that can go there that's going to cause traffic jams, cause safety concerns, stuff like that. So that's not very, I don't mind business going in. I understand what you're saying. We do need business, but just not in that location.
Well, and the bad thing about like what you said, Rob, on this strip, for one, there's not very many businesses that, there's the old feed store, there's the Grandma's Collectibles. There's nothing there that you want to go to every single day, like, that you need. We have the gas station and we have, I would say 1.5 places to eat.
But the entire council, when this first come up, when it was just 40 feet up the road, voted no for it. So we don't change anything, we just move it 40 feet towards Dude's place and everybody thinks it's okay. And nothing changed on it.
I would tell you that everything changed for him because the developer and the engineer listened to the public input and made the changes that the public requested.
No, they didn't.
No, they didn't.
No, they didn't. Because you still have a commercial trying to come off 38.
They made it,
You
and they went ahead and showed the R1 behind it to show what their future plans are.
You still have the same problem. You still got commercial come off Highway 38, trying to call 38 entrance.
That's true. That's
So
true. It's closer to the commercial.
Okay, that's what he's saying. That's the same thing.
Commercial corridor.
That's the same thing. That's what he's trying to say.
Let me remind also this council votes for the entire city, not just one particular neighborhood.
Okay. And you've got both council members from that ward voting no on it.
Totally get that. I totally get that.
Yeah, that's your prerogative, obviously.
Well, we're representing that ward. That ward is saying no, they don't want it.
I get that. And Casey, it's kind of a double-edged sword, like what you just said. There's so many homes going in that direction. Like, I will be honest with you, like when I decide which direction I'm going in to go get something, that kind of determines that, because there's nothing. So everyone all those new homes and everything that are going in, we're not going to get any of that. They're not going to go right and come down to this old part, even if there's something down here right now. They're just going to go on to Cabot. So that's the part that I worry about, is that we don't have any industry or anything over there. As far as moving it back a bit, my problem was it was just another same business. But I was told that they were looking at multiples or doing something different, which would be great, not to have to go there. I just feel like that we have got to have a better plan about some businesses going in and some new businesses instead of constantly putting in new homes, and maybe even working as a city to attract some specific businesses to come here to help us with all that problem.
I will say that part of the UDO process and the new rezoning maps and changing the wording of the different zones, we've drawn them out. In fact, Nikki and I were the only ones who attended meetings a year ago or so about drawing them out, and we looked at commercial corridors or neighborhood corridors, neighborhood commercial. They have a different word for it, but it's basically what that is, in different areas to try to attract more businesses to the area. And that area right there was slated as in this process to be commercial corridor. And also down 367 from downtown, basically, out to the county line, all that. We have a salon right there who's right now doing a home business. He wants to expand, but he can't expand because it's R1. If we can rezone to make it more attractive to businesses throughout that downtown corridor, we have a better chance of getting some more businesses. Plus, on the outskirts, that Highway 38 is in fact a major thoroughfare.
So what's the alternative, is that they'll put homes on that, or apartments, or do something
could.
like that?
They could. Well, right now it's on R1, so houses. They want to put apartments, they'd have to come back for a rezoning rent. Now, I will tell you on the other side of Dude's Place, that's zoned C2, and there's been some discussion about some apartment complexes going up there because that is a conditional use in a C2 area.
Are you talking directly on the other side of Dude's
Correct.
Place?
Right.
But that's owned by the same people, yeah?
Yeah.
I didn't know if they also.
Oh,
owned the
no, I
same.
don't think, these people? I don't think,
No,
no, I
no,
don't think
I
you
don't-
guys own that. I'm not sure who owns that, but that's been brought to me that there's some discussion about that. So, any further discussion on this? This is a good discussion. I appreciate it. All right, council, you brought up for discussion. Is this, we're gonna, just discuss it, or you want to make a motion to move forward with this, or just let it lie with how it sits?
I just want to make a motion to move it forward.
So your motion, your motion is to bring ordinance 2323, which is what it is, back up for consideration.
Yes.
Right, this is something different. Yeah. Yeah, we just opened it up for discussion. Okay, the motion is to bring ordinance 2023 back up for reconsideration and vote. Is that your motion? Okay, do we have a second?
A second.
We have a second. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Chapman?
Yes.
Councilmember McMahon?
Yes.
Councilmember Hefner?
No.
Councilmember Brooke?
No.
Councilmember Rubel?
No.
Councilmember Hall?
Yes.
We have a 3-3 tie again. I vote in affirmative for yes. With that, with ordinance 2023-23 back on the table, I'd entertain a motion to approve it on its first reading.
I'll make the motion.
We have a motion. We have a second.
I'll make the second.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Chapman?
Yes.
Councilmember McMahon?
Yes.
Councilmember Hefner?
No.
Councilmember Brooke?
No.
Councilmember Rubel?
No.
Councilmember Hall?
Yes.
And I vote the affirmative, yes. I'd entertain a motion to waive the rules on the second and third reading. If not, we'll carry it forward to next month.
I'll make the motion.
We have a motion to waive the second and third reading. We have a second,
Second.
and we have a second. Roll call, please.
Councilmember McMahon?
Yes.
Councilmember Hefner?
No.
Councilmember Brooke?
No.
Councilmember Rubel?
No.
Councilmember Hall?
Yes.
Councilmember Chapman?
Yes.
I vote the affirmative, yes. Entertain a motion to adopt, approve resolution, or excuse me, ordinance 2023-23, the rezoning.
Make a motion.
We have a second.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Hefner,
No.
Councilmember Brooke,
No.
Councilmember Rubel,
No.
Councilmember Hall,
Yes.
Councilmember Chapman,
Yes.
and Councilmember McMahon.
Yes.
Again, I vote in the affirmative, yes. Ordinance 2023-23, the rezoning ordinance is approved without emergency clause. It'll go into effect in 30 days. Do you have anything else?
I have something else.
Okay.
I just want to make everybody mad at me all tonight. The next thing is about the water department. I came before the board before I was on the council about some of the issues in the water department, and I've just tried to reach out to some different people and talk to them, and I sat down with Brittany in our office and went through some things. I feel like there's a lot of miscommunication that goes on among the staff out in the field and in the office, and then back to the residents. And I feel like that continues to be a problem. And I don't know the best way to approach it other than if we can have some type of working committee, or if we can work with the community to get a committee together to discuss some of these problems. It is a central theme throughout the whole time I'm talking to everybody. It's the same things over and over and over. And I feel like that we are doing an injustice to everybody by ignoring it and acting like it's I feel like sometimes people feel like they're getting, like you're mad at them for having a problem and that it's not even addressed. So that's what I would like. I don't know how to go about this, but that's what I would like to happen.
So what you're suggesting, if I understand you correctly, is that you would like to get together with council and whomever else who might want to be in a committee to look at our processes or our communication and see what...
Yes, all the above. I feel like that there's a lot of things that are often brought to the council, and I feel like the council feels like their hands are tied because we're just, answering. And so I feel sometimes what is happening, well, from what I found out is happening, things that happen in the field sometimes does not get transferred over at the end of like overnight, for example. If something goes wrong during the night, it doesn't always get transferred over into the central office. So then they aren't aware of what has happened. And so then it kind of continues on. We had talked before about using duplicates when you put notices on people's doors so that they know when something's wrong, or they know what the expectations are of what's happening, what's being repaired. And that still hasn't happened. There's still questions about how to understand, and I don't understand. I don't understand how we can add in so many of these additional homes and our prices still stay the same on what we're paying, and I don't know how to explain that to the public, and I don't know if anybody else understands that either, and if y'all do, I apologize. But I've tried to really sit back and get my feet wet and figure out the whole deal with the council before I talked a lot, but I don't understand where it feels like we have like a payment to make, and now we're dividing that payment up and among more people, but the payment stays the same, and that's hard to explain to people, and I need to understand that more to be able to explain that, and I don't, in the office doesn't understand that either. So when they're getting asked that same question, which I ask, they didn't know the answer, and they get defensive, and I get it, but I just feel like we just continue to push this to the side, and we have a horrible name about Ward Water. And I just, I don't know how to promote the city, and we still have that dark cloud hanging over our head. And Bruce, I know that you've done a wonderful job since you've been here. I don't think it's any reflection on you. I do feel like there's just a lot of miscommunication, and sometimes those are just tiny little things that once we figure it out, we're like, but it just is, it's a splinter. And it just is festering.
I will share with council an email that I sent to a lady not too long ago. I should have done it with you before, and I didn't think about it, to be quite honest. But she asked that same question: why is the water rate so high? Why are the water and sewer rates, if Cabot's at this and Austin's this, why are yours this amount? And I explained it to her, I think very well, into an email. I will share that with you all. But to that regard, I still think I'm not opposed to what you're wanting to do. I believe that if there's a better way to do this, then let's do it. I think that some of the communications that we've made strides on things that we've been doing of recent, on a lot of different things, how we get work orders to the guys, how they respond to work orders. One comment, and this is a minor thing, the door hangers we used to put on doors, they didn't get them because they flew away. Well, we found on the line that you get the sleeves. So now it's a plastic sleeve without an opening, so it stays on the door better. A very, very minor thing, but it is a little process that has made some difference, I'm sure. Having said all that, let's not lose fact that the day-to-day operations is the responsibility of the mayor. However, I don't begrudge, let's have a meeting, let's have a discussion. Let's talk about how we're doing things and see what we can implement to make things better for all of us. And also, some of you, you went to the 605 training, and you did too, Robin, I believe. And they talked about how the different rate structures are done and why they're done such a way, and monies that we have to put back by law for debt service or depreciation, things like that. So it's a complicated matter. Each city's different. Each city has different number of residents. Each city has different debt service. It's a process. But I would be more than willing to sit down and open up a meeting, and then let's see what process. So when would you like, this year, or do you want to wait till after the first year to kind of mull through this?
Well, I think we've got this stuff coming up.
Budget, and then we
meeting tomorrow.
have
I'm fine with
tab.
that. Is it okay if I share with the council like the questions and the information that I
sure.
got? Okay.
Well, okay, so okay, I thought you were gonna do it right now. No, okay. Yeah, you could share with them, they can't respond back to you, because that becomes a two-way conversation. We get into a FOIA issue. Just like when I send out something, I might say information only, don't respond. Same thing. Here's what you're looking at, don't respond, and then we'll meet. If you don't mind, I'd like to push this off till after first year.
I have a question that would go along with that, I think, just for informational purposes. For 4 years, I've had the same water bill pretty much, pretty consistent. But I had one last month that was for the first time, 2.5 times or something of that. And when I came down to talk to them, this is my first experience of having to come down and talk to them about it. And they asked me if I'd read the meter. I'm going, no, I didn't read the meter. So they wanted me to go back and read the meter. I'm going, no, well, okay, I can read the meter, but that doesn't help me. I've got a bill that's really high. And
I'm with you because I don't know how to read the meter at all.
So I went, I went and opened it up and looked and saw the number.
Right.
And so I told them what it was, and they said, well, yeah, that's exactly what it should be based upon what your usage was. Well, that don't help me, and I don't know about the city, but in the past, before I moved to Ward, they gave you once a year. If you had an unusual or something happened, and I figured what I had was a toilet leak issue that got stuck when I was gone out of town for a day or two or something, because I was gone quite a bit over the month. And I figured that may have been what happened, but there was no resolution coming from them. It was basically me saying I have a problem, and there was no solution. And I understand, I used the water, so I guess I'm due to pay it.
Well, yes and no. You're due to pay the water, yes, but we have a process where you could bring a receipt in, you had a leak, and you fixed the leak, whether it's a toilet bowl running over and you put a new flapper valve in it, or what the case may be, and we'll give you credit for the sewer side of it, because the water, you didn't, we can give you that credit, and that's in our ordinance to allow for that. Now, they should have told you about that.
They didn't tell me.
Okay, then that's a communication problem that we need to address, and we certainly can address that. But yeah, anytime, and we also do once a year, if you fill up a swimming pool, take a reading of your meter, or we've also allowed people to take a picture of their box of their pool, they have a kiddie pool, whatever, and how many gallons, and we can figure out how many gallons it is.
But that's the other thing. That's one of the things, is that there isn't any resolution, and even when you know that, like, I had the same thing for a business, and then myself, I went up there because I knew about the pool But then it was the same thing. I went up there and then I'm told, oh, no, you need additional information. And then I'm like, how do I get this additional information? Like the hot tub. I don't have a hot tub box. I hadn't, I didn't think about it. And it's the same thing with that business. They were like, oh, we have to have this now. And then they had to go back and try to find something. So that's what I mean. There's a lot of that where people get frustrated and you don't feel like there's any resolution. You're just told you use the water or whatever.
My issue is that I, as a council member, I did not want to make an issue out of it as though they would think I was doing it because I was a council member.
Sure.
And I want some special treatment. And I wasn't wanting special treatment, I just wanted treatment.
To be quite honest, there's a portion of Act 605 that I haven't done. There's actually a requirement, and unless the legislation has removed it, there was a requirement that we create a water advisory committee and include at least 2 members from outside the city that are in our water district, because we have over 40%, I believe, is the threshold of outside water. So I need to check on that, and that could be the catalyst to this.
That's what I was going to.
So let me check on that, and I think legislation might have pulled that out, but I'm not positive. But let me check on that, and we'll go from there. But at the very, very least, if that's the case, then we'll take steps to establish a committee, advisory committee. And if, regardless of that, if that's not the case, then we still have kind of an advisory committee formed to go over things. So after a few years, yeah. Okay, anything else?
Last thing, and it's really just an update. The youth council thing, I'm going to revisit that. It's just with the new LEARNS Act and them bringing in the community service, they actually won't start that until next year. So I feel like that we can get all this other stuff together, get that together, and then kick it off, because I want to find out for sure when their community service hours have to start. And it's just, they start in 9th grade, but it won't affect the 10th, 11th, or 12th graders next year. Just it'll start with 9th grade and go from there. So I want to check on that. So I haven't forgotten about it, and I'm not letting it go. I just want to get it all coordinated.
Okay. Anything else that you brought forward as council? Let me see if I can get back to where I was at.
Sorry.
It's all right.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Well, let's go over announcements first real quick, if you don't mind. Except they're not coming up on that screen, so I'll just read them. On November 18th, there's going to be a community Thanksgiving meal from 11 a.m. to 1 by Cornerstone Church. City offices will be closed November 23rd, 24th, Thanksgiving. November 27th is Planning Commission meeting. December 3rd, the Christmas parade, tree lighting at 4 p.m. December 18th will be our next city council meeting at 6:30. And December 21st, as Jerry said, will be their Planning Commission meeting in December at 7 p.m. And of course, the Great American Eclipse, and we're still working issues on that. And I just sent a potential ordinance to Chris today to review about authorizing RV usage in the city other than just on the park. So,
Mayor,
Yes.
community Thanksgiving on the 18th will not be at the church, it'll be here at
yes,
City
City Hall.
Hall.
Yes, it's hosted by them. I'm sorry, let me clarify that. Yes, it's at City Hall. It's hosted by, every year it's been hosted by them, and they do a great job. Come up here and get a free meal and fellowship.
The tree lighting, is that gonna be at the Chamber of Commerce?
Yes, sir. Thank you for bringing that up. Yes, sir. That's going to be there. And that'll be our new tree that the council approved that we pay half of it, and the chamber has reimbursed us for that, their half of it. It's going to be nice. Having nothing further in front of this committee, I now would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
A motion with second. All those approved say aye and get up. Thank you very much, council.